we could think of for an American tourist at the time. We rented a car. It was a red Mercedes, and we were kind of infamous for that week and a half that we were on the Camino. But along the way, we stopped in Burgos, and his son met his future wife. So that was the first miracle on the Camino. And they tumbled on each other the rest of the journey. So when I came home, I could not...
Something the father really wants to hear. Keep going.
I'm terribly sorry. When I came home, I began telling Emilio all of these stories along the Camino. And he got interested on his own and started reading and going on the internet. And together we talked about different scenarios. And my whole thing was, it's incredible. You've got to write a scenario about two old guys and a young boy who's their guide. And it was true, Taylor was. He spoke Spanish and he interpreted it for us and got us across the Camino. But Emilio thought of something more deeply personal than that, and I'll let him take it from there.
Well, I saw the story really as a father-son story. The dynamic usually in father-son stories is that the son learns to become the father. And I thought it would be an interesting twist that the father becomes the son.
Yeah.
It may have seemed like one.
Who's counting?
But how's it work? Are you how conscious are you that you're directing your dad? How conscious are you that you're being directed by this?
It's good. No. I'll let you step in it first.
Well, it's a deeply personal work. I adore this guy. One time I was doing an interview some years ago, and the director, the guy doing the interview said, "Tell us about your son, Emilio." I said, "Oh, Emilio, I've known him all of my life." And the guy said, "You mean you've known him all of his life?" I said, No. I've known him all of my life. I didn't know until he showed up who he was, but when he did, I looked at him and said, oh, you're the one. Yeah, okay, let's go. And that's the way it's always been. I never thought of him as a son, or I never felt like a father to him. It was always like a companion, more of a brother. And a deeply spiritual bond was created between us. And so any opportunity to work with him was a blessing, a great blessing. And this was the creme de la creme. He wrote the part for me. And it's not the kind of part that I would get. He likes to say, Michael Douglas turned it down. I can assure you, if Michael Douglas had been offered, and I adore him personally, had been offered this part, he'd have grabbed it and been delighted to play it. So I knew instantly what I had to do, and I felt a great responsibility. But working with Emilio is such fun. Wow, isn't that extraordinary? Wow. And had you never thought about it before? It never occurred to you. Isn't that extraordinary? Look at that.
Chopped up.
We just showed the film to the university in Georgetown to a group of people who had gathered to discuss pilgrimage. And half the audience had been on pilgrimage. It was an astonishing realization of how many people are willing to explore the inner journey, and they were encouraged by this work to do that. That's the most gratifying part of having done this movie, is that so many people, particularly young people, and in America, you can check when you get to Santiago. They keep computers. They don't keep your name or anything. Yeah, they give you your name and all, but they want to know what country you're from. The United States and Canada have the fewest number of pilgrims, two of the wealthiest nations in the world. What does that tell you? We're not doing a whole lot of inner work. The fewest number of pilgrims come from the United States and Canada. Isn't that amazing?
You're talking about your activism, didn't you? When this film premiered in Toronto, didn't your activism kind of kick in as soon as you landed? Or something? I hear. in terms of helping the hotel workers?
Oh, there was a strike at the hotel we were at, yes, so I joined the picket line.
Meanwhile, the screening is going on, and we have to be there, and he's out there with the sign. And I came out there and I said, "What are you doing?" I said, "We got to get in the van." And he says, "Here," and he hands me the sign.
And he went online. It's true.
Thanks, Mike.
No, we told them that we would leave the hotel and go to another hotel and to support the strike. They said, "No, stay in the hotel, join us on the line." I said, "All right, yeah." Felt very comfortable doing that. Now, you know what happened in Canada, man. I just tell the whole story. It's amazing. We were the second time would agree that the more you get into the journey, the more you want to be alone, you know. But you never separate from community. You sup together, wash your clothes together, you bathe together, you stay in the refugios, living in, you know, the kinds you saw on bunk beds, you know. There's no luxuries, nobody has a private room, you know, and it's more and more welcome the more and more you get into the journey that it is a community moving along this road, you know. We stopped at a refugio that first night we were on the road in 2003, and it was very much like the first one here, Roz, and it was packed with people. They were sleeping on the floor everywhere. There was no room. And we went into a nearby pub to ask, is there any other place to go? And they directed us to El Molino, and that's where Taylor met his future bride. And so, I mean, what are the coincidences? It's just extraordinary that's how it happened. And the El Molino is in the film. That's where he was cooking, remember? And the ducks were fooling around and so forth. There was that outdoor shot of the